I got one of these roles, I was surprised. Because most of the men I play ooze machismo, charisma, and power. And when I look in the mirror,
It's been a tough adjustment in our house, but a good one overall. I have 2 other daughters, and my oldest is absolutely obsessed with the baby. We're always joking around, though. After I gave birth, my husband looked at me and said, "Oh my gosh, if I lost you and went to the park with our 3 kids, it'd be something old, something borrowed, something blue, something new." I couldn't help but laugh. These days, I'm wearing her clothes everywhere, lots of body pieces which I mix with suits. Now, shifting to Hollywood, this is Pop Stream, and a major development is shaking the industry. What started as a seemingly ordinary show business disagreement between Blake Lively and director Justin Baldoni has exploded into a full-scale legal battle with enormous consequences. According to new reports, Lively could be facing a potential 5-year prison sentence if allegations of fabricating or misrepresenting evidence are proven true in court. The revelation has sent shockwaves through Hollywood, leaving fans stunned at how a project once celebrated for its emotional depth has descended into scandal, and how one of the industry's most admired stars has ended up at the center of it. The controversy revolves around the film adaptation of the best-selling novel It Ends With Us. When Baldoni, known for his deeply emotional storytelling, announced he would bring the beloved book to the big screen, audiences were thrilled. The casting of Blake Lively, praised for her versatility and charisma, seemed like the perfect choice for the complex lead role. It appeared destined to be a heartfelt cinematic triumph, especially since both Lively and Baldoni initially spoke warmly about their shared passion for honoring the novel's message and emotional weight. But once production began, tensions reportedly emerged behind the scenes. Sources claim Lively's team pushed for a modernized version of the story, one with a lighter tone, more humor, and bold fashion choices aimed at broadening the film's mainstream appeal. What should have been a collaboration built on artistic vision soon turned into a creative standoff, setting the stage for one of Hollywood's most unexpected and dramatic showdowns. Baldoni's team, however, maintained that the story's raw, emotional tone was essential and should never be compromised. As creative differences grew sharper, the situation spiraled. Blake Lively reportedly filed formal complaints accusing Baldoni of sidelining her ideas and dismissing her creative input. But in response, Baldoni's camp produced extensive documentation, production notes, text messages, and transcripts from meetings, allegedly showing that Lively herself had once championed the very comedic rewrites and lavish wardrobe choices she later criticized. What began as a clash of artistic visions quickly exploded into a full-blown public scandal. The tension reached a boiling point when Baldoni filed a staggering $400 million defamation lawsuit against Lively, a move that sent shockwaves through Hollywood and made it clear this was far beyond a mere creative disagreement. It was now a high-stakes legal war. Then, just as the industry thought the drama couldn't escalate further, a startling twist emerged. Rumors began circulating that Lively may have gone beyond simple misrepresentation, potentially altering or withholding evidence during sworn testimony. The speculation intensified when whispers spread of newly uncovered documents, private text conversations, and even possible video clips that appeared to contradict her public statements. These alleged materials reportedly portrayed Lively as an active supporter of the very comedic and fashion-forward direction she later accused Baldoni of forcing upon the production. If proven true, experts warn that such inconsistencies could expose her to serious legal jeopardy, including potential perjury or false representation charges. Entertainment lawyers and industry insiders have since weighed in, emphasizing that while no official charges have been filed, the implications are enormous. With hundreds of millions of dollars and multiple reputations on the line, even the mere suggestion of evidence tampering has transformed what began as a creative dispute into one of Hollywood's most explosive legal crises. Meanwhile, Hollywood continues to grapple with the sheer spectacle of it all. How a film meant to tell a moving story about love, growth, and resilience has instead devolved into a cautionary tale of ambition, ego, and the dangerous crossroads where art meets law. Each new leak, rumor, and court filing only intensifies the drama, leaving many to wonder just how far this case will go, and whether Blake Lively, once seen as the embodiment of Hollywood grace, could truly be facing the unthinkable, time behind bars. In interviews, Lively once spoke passionately about her process, explaining, "Honestly, the way I get into a character is through their style. It's more about who Lily is that fascinates me." Yet now, that same focus on style and creative vision has become a focal point in the controversy surrounding her. Speculation has run rampant over whether Lively was simply trying to reshape the public narrative in her favor, or whether she crossed a far more serious legal line that could carry criminal consequences. The tension grew even sharper when new reports surfaced alleging the existence of extensive communications, including emails, text messages, and meeting notes that appeared to show Lively enthusiastically supporting the comedic tone and elaborate costume designs from the very start of production. According to insiders, these records suggest she not only embraced the film's lighter, fashion-forward direction, but also played an active role in selecting designer outfits for her character, choices she later claimed were imposed upon her. If verified, such evidence would directly contradict her sworn statements and could expose her to perjury or false representation charges. Legal experts have emphasized that if those discrepancies are proven, the penalties could be severe, with potential prison time of up to 5 years, turning what many initially dismissed as mere gossip into a sobering high-stakes reality. Public opinion, as expected, is sharply divided. Lively's supporters argue that her early enthusiasm for humor and style was part of a natural creative process, that actors often explore different tones and aesthetics before settling on what best serves a story's emotional truth. They insist her shift in perspective could reflect artistic growth, not deceit. Others, however, maintain that the mounting evidence paints a very different picture, one where revisions to the narrative may not have been about creativity at all, but about control and image management. And so, what began as a promising adaptation of a beloved novel now stands as one of Hollywood's most explosive sagas, a collision of fame, artistry, and accountability that's left the entire industry questioning where performance ends and truth begins. On the other side of the controversy, supporters of Justin Baldoni see the entire situation through a very different lens. They argue that Blake Lively took a calculated risk by portraying herself as a marginalized voice within the production, a woman struggling to be heard in a male-dominated Hollywood environment in hopes of drawing public sympathy. However, they contend that if credible evidence emerges proving she not only approved but actively shaped the film's comedic scenes and extravagant wardrobe choices, her entire narrative could crumble. What was once framed as an issue of creative suppression could instead look like deliberate misrepresentation. To Baldoni's backers, this is about more than artistic disagreement. It's about trust. Lively's public image has long been built on relatability, sincerity, and creative authenticity. Any proven contradiction between her private communications and public statements could not only devastate her professional reputation, but also carry potential legal consequences. Adding to the intrigue are persistent whispers that Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, may have quietly influenced the production behind the scenes. Rumors suggest he offered comedic input and even recommended script rewrites to infuse lighter moments into the story. Some insiders believe Lively leaned on Reynolds' well-known comedic instincts to strengthen the screenplay, only to distance herself once backlash erupted from fans of the original novel, who felt betrayed by leaked images showing a glossy, fashion-heavy tone that clashed with the book's raw emotional realism. This theory raises uncomfortable questions. Did Lively attempt to rewrite history after realizing audiences disapproved of the film's lighter direction? And did she forget that digital footprints, messages, notes, and meeting logs could contradict her revised version of events? To make matters more complex, alleged leaks hint that other A-list figures within Lively's circle may also have had creative input, possibly suggesting cameo roles or comedic moments designed to soften the narrative. If true, such involvement would make it even harder for Lively to argue she was pressured into changes she didn't endorse. Her critics insist that even if she later regretted those creative decisions, it doesn't excuse altering her story or misrepresenting her earlier enthusiasm. Her defenders, however, push back, saying this is simply the messy reality of filmmaking, a process defined by experimentation, evolving ideas, and emotional shifts. What outsiders interpret as deceit, they argue, may just be the normal ebb and flow of collaboration in Hollywood's high-pressure creative world. Comedic flourishes are often part of the creative process, tested, explored, and ultimately discarded if they don't serve the story. Actors can genuinely be enthusiastic about early ideas without realizing how those small creative decisions might snowball and reshape the tone of an entire film. To Lively's supporters, that's the heart of this issue. Not deceit, but the unpredictable, messy reality of collaboration in Hollywood. Still, whether that defense will hold up in the court of law or the court of public opinion remains uncertain, as the storm surrounding Blake Lively only continues to grow. Behind the scenes, there were signs of mounting tension. As production evolved, some of the comedic elements in It Ends With Us seemed to take on a life of their own, overshadowing the raw emotional core of Colleen Hoover's novel. From Lively's perspective, this shift may have been deeply frustrating, and missing or incomplete text messages might not fully capture that frustration. Her defenders argue that the so-called smoking gun evidence doesn't necessarily prove she lied. Instead, it reflects the difficult balance between an actor's creative instincts and a film's evolving direction, a vision that may have slipped further from her control than she ever intended. Meanwhile, her critics point out that the question is no longer just about artistic differences, but about honesty and accountability. If prosecutors decide to pursue the matter, the stakes couldn't be higher. For Lively to truly face the possibility of up to 5 years in prison, investigators would need to present irrefutable proof that she deliberately misled the court or tampered with the legal process. What began as a promising adaptation of a beloved novel has now become something far more serious, a Hollywood scandal that blurs the line between creative freedom and legal responsibility, leaving both fans and insiders wondering where the story will end and whether this time, real life has outdone the script. Legal experts have been quick to note that the bar for perjury or false representation charges is incredibly high. To secure a conviction, prosecutors would need clear, indisputable evidence of intentional falsehoods, not simply evolving creative opinions or inconsistent recollections. Still, the persistence of these rumors suggests that the alleged evidence is either substantial or at least perceived as damaging enough to fuel relentless headlines. Behind the scenes, however, some legal observers believe the specter of prison time may be more strategic than substantive. They speculate that Justin Baldoni's team could be deliberately allowing whispers of potential criminal liability to circulate as a pressure tactic, an effort to push Lively toward a settlement or a quiet withdrawal. Such tactics are not uncommon in defamation disputes, where high-profile battles often end behind closed doors with confidential agreements rather than courtroom verdicts. Yet this situation feels different. The looming possibility of criminal scrutiny has added a volatile new dimension that no private deal can fully contain. And as the drama deepens, fresh revelations continue to emerge. Newly surfaced documents reportedly place Lively at the very center of early creative meetings, brainstorming comedic dialogue with writers, reviewing scene rewrites, and even endorsing the lavish wardrobe designs she would later criticize. One insider claims she referred to an especially extravagant outfit as a bold move to captivate modern audiences, a comment now being used by her detractors to challenge her credibility. To Lively's critics, this evidence directly undercuts her claims of being blindsided by the film's tonal shift and opulent style. To her supporters, it simply highlights the evolution of a creative process, one that may have spun out of control once corporate and public expectations clashed. Meanwhile, fans of It Ends With Us continue to hope that the film will eventually see release. Many still believe that the novel's powerful message about resilience and healing can transcend the off-screen chaos. But for now, the production remains stalled. Marketing plans are frozen, investors are hesitant, and the shadow of controversy grows longer with each passing week. Industry insiders have even begun to compare Lively's predicament to other infamous Hollywood downfalls. Cases where accusations of deceit, whether proven or not, left indelible marks on once untouchable reputations. What was once a passion project meant to inspire has now become a symbol of how swiftly ambition, image, and legal warfare can collide in the unforgiving glare of the public eye. In an industry built on image, perception, and precision, even the faintest whisper that an A-list star may have misled a court is enough to send shockwaves through studio boardrooms. Add to that the looming threat of potential prison time, and the stakes become almost unimaginable for a business where reputation is currency and optics are everything. Still, it's important to emphasize that no formal charges have been filed against Blake Lively. The legal process moves cautiously, and both sides' attorneys are reportedly eager to avoid triggering what some insiders call the nuclear option, a full-scale criminal investigation. Lively's legal team has responded forcefully to the rumors, dismissing talk of incarceration as pure intimidation tactics. They insist their client has been transparent from the start, portraying her early support for the film's lighter comedic elements and bold fashion choices as part of the normal creative evolution every movie undergoes. According to her defense, her later decision to reject those ideas wasn't deception, it was artistic instinct. She believed the humor and glamour had begun to drown out the emotional heart of It Ends With Us, a story grounded in pain, growth, and resilience. Yet despite these assurances, uncertainty continues to swirl. The longer the case drags on, the more the public is left wondering whether Blake Lively is a victim of Hollywood politics or the author of her own undoing. The future of both the film and her career hangs precariously in the balance, suspended between speculation and silence. At the center of the escalating dispute are questions surrounding the authenticity and context of the evidence presented by Justin Baldoni's camp. Lively's supporters argue that screenshots, text snippets, and isolated messages can be easily twisted when removed from the broader production timeline. What appears to be approval of a specific idea in one conversation, they claim, could have been part of a larger brainstorming process, one that evolved dramatically over months of development. As the legal and public relations battle intensifies, what once began as a